Anywho, welcome to Inside Integration. My name is Chris. I'm joined as always by my partner Jason.
What's up, everybody?
And today we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to travel down the road of some AV furniture. We're going to talk about what's available for that and maybe get into some hi fi stuff.
Yeah, we'll talk about some product reviews, talk about all kinds of exciting new things. But yeah, to kind of kick it off, I guess for the for the impetus of this episode, I got a new piece of hi-fi set up in my living room, which is exciting for me and maybe really nobody else that's listening to this or maybe on this call right now. But yeah, got to undust, I guess, some of my hi-fi gear I had from my days from launching high-res audio at Sony. So I got I've got my high-res file player. I got my integrated amplifier. I got some speakers and some stuff that's literally been in a child-proof box for the last 10 or so years. Um, and discovered that, hey, you know what? I need some furniture to put that on. And my first thought, of course, was to look at our partners at Salamander because obviously Salamander is a premier offering,
Oh,
premier
yeah.
vendor.
Well made stuff. All
Beautiful,
the options
right?
that you could possibly think of.
All the
Sure.
options, all the bells and whistles, all the toys, ice cold AC, power windows, whatever you
Rich
want.
Corinthian leather, I think is,
Exactly.
yeah.
And looking at some of the options there, and it's just for whatever reason they didn't have the right recipe for my space. I needed a long, thin, wide, um, cabinet, right? Like something that would be appropriate for probably like an 85-inch or 100-inch TV. Just, but I didn't need it to be super duper deep. I needed it to be like one unit's worth of AV equipment deep,
Right.
maybe
And
like
and not milk crates and two by sixes. Okay.
100%.
Got
Yeah.
it.
I,
Right.
I need it to be, 14 to 16 inches deep, but I don't need it to be cinder blocks and,
Right.
a bunch of power strips laying underneath it, like I might have done in another another time in my life.
Right.
So we actually started looking at what we've got from Ergo AV, and pleasantly surprised. We had a TV stand, a sample in our warehouse, and I have actually sent the photographs of my little process here to Chris. So check out the Oliver Marketing socials, maybe at the time that you hear this, or maybe shortly after that you
Yeah,
hear
we're,
this,
we're gonna we're
depending
gonna
on
put
when you
up a
listen
little
to
little
this.
overview there, sure. But
We'll do something there, just giving Chris more things to do. But man, like what a great value for money when it comes to I need a stand, I need a piece of furniture that's kind of invisible, but is sturdy enough to hold all my stuff, and looks price appropriate for modern day furniture. And I would say that there's a pretty big delta between the Salamander customer and the Ergo AV customer. The Ergo AV customer probably isn't expecting a bunch of beautiful veneers and wonderful, hardwood choices or glass and metal mix options, right? Like it's just not probably in their thought process. But what I will say is the shelves that are on the unit that I got, the powder coating, the hardware, all that stuff, perfectly acceptable and so easy to put together. And my wife sort of had to do the sort of side eye on it, like how how much was
what's this gonna
that,
be? Right.
exactly,
Sure.
and we all have our personal bankers that we live with, I think, right? Like what are we spending money on here, what are we doing? And luckily the price was right for the for the partners that are here on the Inside Integration podcast. We get industry discounts, but man, like what a great piece of furniture, and what an awesome way to add, some ambiance to the house, right?
Well,
Like we talk about this all the time. Music makes life better, and
yep.
I think I've proven it time and time again.
Well, and it's nice too because at least from the pictures or whatever. Obviously, I wasn't there with you, but from the pictures, I mean, it's comes really nicely flat packed, right? Like it's things not showing up on a pallet or anything. It's
Nope.
super easy. Your finished pictures, like you couldn't even tell that it was disassembled, right? Like it's
Right,
all
and I
flat
put it
pack. It's all
together.
really nice. Yeah, you put it together yourself. It's it's pretty nice. But I mean, you said you were getting back into some of the hi-fi stuff, and you mentioned that file player, which immediately took me back because there were some yacht projects that I worked on at one point where like every single room in this entire yacht had one of those high def players. So I know exactly the box you're talking about.
HAP Z1ES, baby.
Oh
It,
my
it,
god, that
it
thing.
rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was I mean, that if you're a sultan and you wanted your, high def audio, that was your
Sultan of Swing,
yeah, that was
just
your
to throw a
box,
little,
right?
Dire Straits reference in
Yes,
there.
sultan of swing your slaves into the sea.
Yeah, exactly.
But definitely I mean, yeah, that thing was and I mean that was a valid part for like 10 years, right? Like that sucker.
Oh, as with a lot of things in Sony Hi-Fi world, they set like a benchmark, and then that product will just sit there until
Just
there's
went.
either something better that comes down the pipe, or it just kind of dissolves into the ether of, the fabric of electronic components. But yeah, in a former life, when that product was brand new, I slogged those things around to virtually everywhere I could get into in Southern California
Yep.
and Nevada and Arizona. Would you like to listen to some high res audio? Well, if you wouldn't like to listen to some high res audio right now, how about now? We'd really like you to hear this while we're here. We've got it all set up. But yeah, we're just adding the pieces to the room, and it kind of got me thinking about our furniture offerings and kind of what we've got going, and you know we do have different tiers, right? We've got Salamander on the high end, and they will do fully custom
Oh yeah.
whatever you want, right? Like they've
Yep.
got the off the shelf stuff that you can sort of design your own. They've got the human centric product, which is more of their commercial office space. I mean, they've got a TV mount that leans up against the wall that will hold, like an 85-inch TV or
Yeah,
whatever.
the Acadia. Those
The
things are great.
thing
They're
is
very cool.
crazy, right? And you're just
Yep.
like, wait, I just lean this on the wall and
Yeah, no screw holes required. Perfect for a
fan,
rental. It's fantastic.
fantastic. And then you've got products like, I mean, they're seating, right? Like, and a zillion options. But even when you drill down to like AV Basics, like the biggest thing that a lot of dealers still don't even know with AV Basics is like the shipping is included in the price,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Like
that's mind blowing, especially for furniture. Holy moly.
dock to dock,
Yep.
and like we're not talking like you can put together, five chairs for in that, $5,000 to $6,000 sort of wheelhouse for leather, for USB, for fully power, for hey, I'd like these ones to be recliners and this one to be like a Shea lounge or whatever you want it
Yep.
to be. Like they've
Yep.
got some pretty compelling offerings, and oh yeah, it's free shipping unless you want it to be again like some special delivery, some white glove service or something like that. But for integrators, uh, you're not talking about the option to just add like $5,000 worth of chairs or six
Oh
thousand
yeah.
dollars worth
I
of
mean,
chairs
it's
and
it's a
make a bunch of
killer.
moolah. It's super easy. Like, come on.
What's nice about them is that it is some really really nice stuff. No mill worker required, right? So if you have a space that
Right.
you could get this thing in, I mean, it's profit for you. The I mean the shipping times are like 3 to 10 days on most of the cabinets, right? So you can kind of it's almost just in time. It's nice and easy. The one thing that takes a little bit more time is custom seating, but that's what you want to take the time, right? So
Well,
you're
and
designing
it
a
should.
theater, and yeah, it should.
Yeah.
So, but even then, I mean, it's like 12 weeks to get these things, and that's completely reasonable for for custom chairs.
I love the idea of like an impulse buy home theater. Like, no, dude, I
Right,
need
right.
powered
No, let
recliners
me
this
just
week
throw
or the
this in.
deal's off.
Right,
Deal's
right,
off. Just rip all of the acoustic panels out of here, get all the speaker wire out of here. I don't want this anymore.
right,
We're gonna make that Jeffrey's room or whatever we're gonna do.
right.
Like what are you talking about? Like, but if you did have a situation where the client's like, hey, we really need this stuff and we have an event or we're having a party or whatever it is, what are my options? AV Basics is a great option
Yep.
because you'll have it maybe, what do they say, 5 to 10 days, probably max, depending on what you're how far away you are from Connecticut.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
otherwise it shows up, you deliver it or you can have it delivered to the client's home and start unwrapping it and plugging it in and setting it up. Like
I mean,
that's
it's a great
ideal.
yeah, it's a great attachment sale. It really kind of goes right along with the stuff that we're doing here. You know, if you have something that, you know, maybe a, you know, maybe a black mid Atlantic rack or a black strong rack in a, you know, in a cabinet tucked away behind a door isn't an option. Like, yeah, they make some really nice, like really, you know, wood finished with rack rails inside with a door. You can get this stuff anywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great stuff. But what I want to get back to, Jason, is I mean, you're reigniting your hi-fi proclivities here. Like,
Yeah. Wow.
what's your setup over there?
That sounds janky. That sounds weird.
Hey, you're not on any weird flight logs or anything else.
No,
This is
I
all
can
about your
fly
passion for
wherever I
hi-fi,
want. I can
right?
fly to any country I need to. Yeah, you know, I mean, I would say that given you know, the amount of energy that this gig takes out of you, right? And you know, the industry at large, you know, we've got a couple hundred accounts we're calling on. We got a lot of stuff going on. The television, although it's wonderful, can be could be a point of contention at times, right? Where you're just like, you know what, I don't want to listen to the news. There isn't some docu series or drama that everybody here in the house can agree on. We're having a conversation, or maybe I'm just here in the house by myself and I'm working. I would much rather have some music on in the background, whether it's streaming channel or playing high res from my music or from my music collection, my movie collection, my soundtrack, whatever it is. I can't
Right.
even think
Sure.
straight, right?
Yeah.
That's how dazed and confused I am with my love for music right
Look, it's
now.
not like you're in a debate right now. It's okay. We can
No,
slow
it's
down.
not. You're right. But yeah, I just got got some you know, got an integrated little Sony amplifier with high res file player, some stuff that's legacy products from another time that I was able to you know, to keep, was able to hang on to, again, just based on the amount of times that I dragged those boxes around.
Sure.
My arms are longer because they're so heavy, but yeah, we got some Sony speakers even. So they're the NA5s, so they're like a bookshelf speaker that was again another passion project for Sony, and you know, looking forward to adding a new turntable and looking forward to adding a Blue Sound node. I think is going to be
There you go.
one of the pieces on my shopping list, so that we can tie in a bunch of our you know, tie in a bunch of our vendor partners and be able to talk about the experience I'm having in real time. You know, outside of my evaluation of this piece of furniture, I was also able to add in and do a little test drive of the Dolly E12 subwoofer, which is way more bass than my tiny little house will ever need, which
Right.
is just enough for yours truly. So
And just so I'm clear, the base it doesn't rattle the ergo furniture, right? Like
it
that.
does not.
All right,
Actually,
excellent.
you know, it makes the windows in our house pulsate a little bit, but you
Sure,
know,
that's yeah,
furniture is completely rattle free. The registers in the floor and the carpet, it will definitely get a hold of those on some of the lower bass notes. We play a little bit of you know, Outcast, Spotty, what is it, Spody Opa Dopalicious, you know, or whatever. Some of these tracks that they've got on some of their tracks have some really great low bass lines that you wouldn't even hear
sure.
it
Yeah, you wouldn't register half
into
of
the
it.
standard system, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's the subsonic bass note that I didn't even know was here, and all of the you know, glasses in my counter and my cabinets are singing away. So yeah, the subwoofer, I mean, has been an amazing addition to the system there. So it's been fun to have that fired up. And I think the whole message out of all of this stuff is, if you're not thinking about hi-fi, or you're not thinking about just kind of like the simple pleasures of what music can bring to your home or to your clients' homes, I think you're definitely missing out, right? Like, if you're not demonstrating it, if you're not
Sure.
talking about it, if you're, I mean, I don't think everybody has to live the hi-fi lifestyle. I mean, I certainly don't, I certainly don't intend to be doing that. Like, I'm not going to be crawling through the record bins or anything like that on a regular basis, I don't think, but I definitely would like to add a turntable definitely like to get my kids, more engaged and involved with
Sure.
what music's about, reading the liner notes in an LP, all of those things that I
Listening
think
with
are,
purpose or whatever they, yeah,
yeah,
just not
exactly.
just passive listening, like more of an active role, right?
Just getting some music going and realizing that there's a lot of work that went into that 3 minutes of music, right? And there's a lot of artistry and a lot of intent behind some of this messaging. And I think they're at an age, being 14 and 13 at this point, to be able
Yeah.
to
Yeah. It's a good time to get them into that.
figure some of that stuff out.
Sure. Sure. Not, I mean, for me personally, I've never, I get it and I appreciate it, but I've never been like a, dedicated listener, full stack vinyl, that whole thing. Like that's just never kind of really been my thing. So
Sure.
I'm sort of fascinated to hear about this journey that you're on, getting back into
Well,
it, introducing your kids
I'm
to it.
old. I mean, I think I'm like 10 years old. I mean, how old are you?
43.
43, so 7 years, right? So you think about just in the timeline, right? So I'm 7 years old in 1980. You're born in 1980. I remember when the CD came out. Like I remember that whole like evolution of like 8-track cassette, like which, I remember my dad and my parents being sort of like, you know, well, what stereo do I get in the car? Do I get the 8-track or do I get the cassette one? Or do I get the 8-track and then put the cassette adapter in it? What do I
There you
do?
go. Right.
Like,
Yeah. See, we never, yeah, we never, my personal vintage, we never had an 8-track player in a car. We had cassette decks. We had no cassette deck whatsoever. My parents had like a
right.
70s Beetle that didn't have anything in it except
Just the
for,
knobs.
yeah,
Yeah,
it would just
radio.
play like, speeches from the Fuhrer and that kind of thing. And
Yeah,
there was just
yeah,
nothing, nothing
okay.
else. Um, but yeah, yeah, that's definitely a concern there too. I mean, I remember finding an 8-track player in my stepmom's basement or something, and like my stepbrother and I being so fascinated with like, we found Pac-Man Fever on 8-track
Oh
and
yeah.
popping that in and okay, this is how it worked. Here's how you change tracks. Here's how this seems a lot better than like fast forwarding and rewinding. Like I can get directly to a track, and I thought that was pretty cool, even though it just sounded like total crap. But you know,
Yeah.
I think it was like realistic or something. It was one of those
Sure.
brands. But yeah, man, those days, I don't think. I mean, I really don't think I got too much into music until like most people, like I got a Walkman, and
Right.
somebody in my grade school left their copy of Appetite for Destruction somewhere that I
Oh
grabbed it,
yeah.
and like that was, man, that just blew my freaking mind. I was like,
Yeah. I mean, again,
ooh,
I think there's like the 7 year delta, right? Like for me, it's like I remember going to like my dad had a stereo at the house, right? And then like their friends had the reel to reel and like
oh yeah,
my grandfather had like the ham radio set up in the basement. So there I think I was just around that kind of stuff. So whether my kids want to be involved with it or not, they got they got some records from Silver Platters here in Seattle,
there
and
you
we're
go,
gonna we're gonna
nice,
get the turntable set up, and they're gonna learn how to clean the disc,
there
put
you
the
go,
record on, play it. I'm sure we'll bring some updates, because my youngest one is like, how many vinyls do you have? And I was like, vinyls? What is a vinyl? And she's like, the vinyls. And I'm like, the vinyls, like
the band, no,
well,
not the
and then
vinyls.
I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. She's like, the music's. And I'm like, oh, like records? And she's like, yeah, vinyl records. And I'm like, where did you hear this word, the vinyls? And she's just like, well, it just says 12-inch vinyl. So I just thought that they were vinyls.
Sure,
Like, you
sure,
know, out of the mouth of babes, right? So, yeah,
absolutely.
just trying to trying to get that, trying to get that experiential, like, let's turn our brain off. Let's engage in something that's not on our phone. Like you've got to pay attention to the record.
Right.
If you, I mean, I know she immediately wants to DJ it up and become, the DJ Jazzy Jeff or something like that. And she's already like, well, can we get the one with the slip mat? Like she's already sort of like
Wow.
cued in on like some of the nuance of what a turntable is, but not exactly what it's all about yet. So
right?
I'm sure that I'm gonna
Which is kind of
see some.
surprising because like that side of things has been digital for so long, right? Like there's the Technics 1200 turntable,
Yeah,
you're not scratching a record in the literal sense anymore. It's just two
yeah.
rotating pads.
She's
you
already
know?
asking me about Serato and a USB hookup and a mixer. I'm just like,
Get her a subscription to Ableton and get her all set up,
really,
right? So she,
like you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna buy, what is it, Tractor or Cakewalk or
there you
some of
go.
these audio programs and start, making loops and beats. Like,
There you
I'm
go.
just trying to play some Travis Scott records over here, kiddo. That's all we're doing. That's the one that you bought. I just want to make sure that you can play that in the living room. We'll
Yeah.
work our way work
Our
our way to the rest of that stuff.
our critical listening in my home with an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old is basically being in a car and my son wanting to listen to music that's featured in Fortnite, right? So that led him into Eminem. So now we're on this Eminem journey with my 8-year-old, which I never thought possible. um and we're going through it, and it's amazing to see. Again, I'm father of the year for introducing my son to Eminem and explicit lyrics and
I was
all
gonna
the
say,
terrible things.
are we doing like the Marshall Mathers LP here? Like,
Oh no,
what record are we doing?
we have tracked our way through everything, including the new disc that just dropped, the new set of tracks, that the album. Yeah, we're digging into that, but like he knows, he's into, he knows the relationship between Eminem and Dr. Dre and Eminem and Snoop Dogg. He's, we have had very lengthy discussions on East Coast rap and West Coast rap, and here, hey,
Oh, free Tony
Jay-Z,
Yayo. I
you
get
know,
it. I get it.
right? This is,
Wow,
the Beastie Boys are East Coast, Jay-Z is East Coast,
man.
Ice Cube and Dr. Dre, they are West Coast, and all that stuff. And he's picking it up, man. It's pretty wild to see a kid like get into, you know, all the different subtext around music and that kind of thing.
So
And he's into, he's gotten into Metallica, and that led to, hey, this is Motorhead, and here's this
the Ace of Shades.
right, the Ace of Shades, right, exactly.
There's a callback to a joke that nobody heard, but
Yeah,
that's okay.
let me hang those shades for you anytime you
Yeah,
want.
exactly.
Um,
That's the way to do it. So yeah, I mean, so it's all right. So he's definitely more of a Kendrick Lamar guy. He's not a Drake guy. Is that where we've landed on that
he
whole?
honestly doesn't know who either of those two people are. So
Okay.
yeah, we've stayed out of that, whatever
No,
that thing
no diss
is.
track.
No,
We're not in the no battle rappers or anything like that.
no, but it's funny because as we listen to like some of the older Eminem stuff, which Jesus at this point is 20 years
Woo.
old, pointing out references to him and him asking like, hey, who's Limp Bizkit? And
Oh man.
who's Chris Kirkpatrick, and
Dude,
like all these,
I saw
huh?
Eminem at the Warped Tour in like 1999 or 2000 or something like that when he was nobody, right? Like it
Nobody.
was just this, and I mean, like Ice-T was on that same bill, and Ice-T was a much bigger deal
Sure.
than than Eminem
Right.
was, but
Star of CSI New York, Ice T. As
yeah,
his
wow.
This is how it goes when you get old.
I'm more of the star of the most dangerous game. What was that one he was in with Rutger Hauer where they were hunting him? Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah, yeah. He was in Judgment Night too, wasn't he? Wasn't he part
Yeah,
of that? But
he's been in a few. I just
it's been a
remember that
bunch of
one
stuff.
with Rutger Hauer where they're like, "Hey, we're gonna get you off the street. We're gonna feed you, and we're gonna do all these great things, and then we're gonna take you out in the woods and like hunt
So
you." Like, what the hell is going on here?
I mean, have you looked around outside? We're almost there. We're really getting to that
Yeah,
point. You know.
it is crazy that times are what they are. And speaking of times, did you know that we are only 8 weeks away from CEDIA, my man? Like, you know,
The best segue I've ever heard
did you
in my
like
entire
that?
life. I did. I thought that was absolute. That was like we are we are just waltzing down the primrose path for Chris to have an anti-fascist moment, and Jason just pulled the
Pew!
ripcord and whoop,
Look at that.
Cedia,
We are
let's
right
go.
back up on the highway. We were right through that construction zone.
Absolutely,
We
it was a
didn't
bumpy
even see the
road. Now
guy
we're good.
turn the sign. We just
Nope.
just hit resume on the cruise control.
We
8 weeks
were
out from CEDIA,
Yeah. It's coming
ready
fast.
to ready to show you guys around the floor ready to see all the new things for ourselves, ready to hang out at some of these events. Like, I mean, I think we need to create maybe a list or something of
Yeah.
all the great events to check out or things to be looking for. Certainly check our social media feeds because we will be promoting right up until and through all the stuff that's going on with CEDIA, and to kind of draw this full circle to where we started out with talking about Ergo and Salamander. We know that Salamander is going to have a huge booth, a huge presence on the floor at CEDIA this year to really talk about some of the new things that they've got going. But Ergo is also going to have a big
Yeah.
presence at the show, and a piece of furniture that I was actually hoping to be unboxing when I took the stand
The
that I
Lambo.
that I
Right.
set up out of the box. But they Ergo has a cool new piece of furniture, a cool new piece of kit where all the shelves and everything are already assembled. Basically, you pull the thing out of the box and you fold it out
Yep.
into
It
the
opens
stand or
like
the
an
cabinet.
umbrella. Like it is, it's this, hinged origami thing. It's a sorry, it's a flat pat box. You open the thing up, you take it out, and yeah, you just accordion it open. Your shelves are
Screw
flat.
the
You put the
top
shelves
on,
in,
right?
and yeah, the top screws in, so it's structurally sound. But that is it. And man, this thing is sweet. It's such a
So
great piece.
I built this piece of furniture in my living room in about, I don't know, I'll be generous and say that it was an hour, but it was not an hour.
Right.
It took me longer to carry the box in and carry the box out than it did to lay the parts out and kind of screw them together, frankly. So if there's something that looks as good with a fit and finish as what I see here in my own living room on the previous set, and it's even easier and faster to set up for the clients that don't need the custom furniture or some of the custom options that are available from Salamander, or maybe just prices them out. We'll just,
Yep.
frankly, Salamander is not for everybody because
Different strokes for different folks.
it's in a price band and in a different arena where client doesn't want to have a couple $100 piece of furniture in their living room. They'd like to have something that's a little more price appropriate and matches their decor, what have you, gives them
Sure.
options. Ergo limits those, but for what you get for your savings, I think is definitely reasonable quality and certainly purpose built for what we're doing here.
Well, and they
It's
had
exciting.
it's worth calling it back too because Ergo had a great booth last year. Like they were, I feel like they were
Hmm.
a big surprise to a lot of people who had never heard of them before.
Oh,
That
that desk with the
the
charging
the
thing on it. Come
charging
on,
port
dude.
desk and the monitor things, and I mean even the display that they had with all of their ISO tilt TV mounts and everything, so like you could really kind of get up
Yeah,
to
we don't
them,
talk about those
compare
enough,
them.
do we?
No, because unfortunately, it seems like in this industry, like mounts are kind of commoditized, right? Like
Sure they
there's,
are.
they're stamped out of metal and they come from wherever, and it just is what it is. But the Ergo stuff, I mean, it's great. There's features here. They pull out very well. They're isolated and like it kind of it kind of gives you a taste that like Ergo is a gigantic company. Right? Like
Right. Well, it gives you,
it's
yeah, it
not
definitely
just a
gives,
very small division of something else. It is furniture making and engineering, and there's a full team behind it, and
yeah,
it's some
started by
great
the guys
stuff.
who launched Sanus, right? Or were
Right.
part of the bigger piece of Sanus. So
Right.
kind of take that know-how and cook it into your own sort of cottage brand of product. And okay, you want to deal on a flat pack of brackets, they can do that. But
Yeah.
you need
Right.
some reasonably priced furniture, that's again gonna fit into a lot of places, not be offensive. I think it's a fantastic
Yeah.
solution. So
It's a good play.
my
The margins are
my
great.
my my
Make a ton
wholehearted
on them.
review is check out Ergo AV, check out Salamander for some of the best deals in the furniture game,
Yeah.
bar none.
And
And certainly AV's will.
it speaks to the same thing that we're saying about shades and lights. Like if this is not something that you're considering as a you
Yeah,
can
what are you
only get
doing?
so far with with pre-wires and TVs and that kind of thing. Like these are other little things that you can absolutely flex into your business model that they'll make you some more money. They really will. This is something that we all need to be thinking about is how to diversify a little bit. And
Right. Well, we talked
furniture is a
about
natural fit.
how do we get on that list of the CE Pro Top 100? It's not by leaving money on the table. I can tell you that right now, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
I mean, and we get it. Some of this stuff isn't your traditional stuff, right? Like some of it is a hassle. It's not just oh, I'll run over and grab this thing on my way to the job site. And I think that service model, that willingness and that ability to step out onto that rung and say, I am the one-stop shop. I am the servicer of all of the things. The more of those things that you can take on yourself and offer those to the client as a service, again, going to separate you, value, performance for money, for all of those things from the competition out there.
It's true. Very true. And that kind of, we kind of got off the CEDIA track a little bit, but
A
there's
little bit.
definitely, I mean, 8 weeks away is not a big amount of time here.
Yeah.
And
What are you excited about? Excited about another trip to Denver, Colorado? We're going to go to the 5280 Burger Bar, and
I mean,
and
we have to,
I
we
think it's a
absolutely have
tradition
to.
at this point, right?
It's what I was surprised by is that I'm starting to like we're putting together some of the marketing materials that we're going to do for CEDIA, and as a rep firm, like it's a lot of like guides and here's where you find our brands and that sort of thing. I'm kind of surprised by hearing that it's going to be well attended, but there are definitely companies that are considering not doing CEDIA versus doing the lighting for Lightapalooza. So to hear Lightapalooza kind of coming into its own, and a lot of these manufacturers saying, yeah, we're going to have a small presence here, but we're going to go all out for this other thing that's more dedicated to our market is very much a surprise. And,
Yeah.
hearing some places that, yeah, we're only doing a small booth or we're doing this, I think it speaks to, CD's got to maybe refocus a little bit. I mean, Lightapalooza is a great event, absolutely. But if we're all going to keep coming together for CEDIA and that's going to be our big national show, there, something's got to give.
Well,
There's
there's only
more
so many
interesting
beans in the
things,
can. Yeah.
right? More training opportunities. I kind of feel like, and again, this is just my own opinion, but as an attendee for a very long time, it feels like, some of the education stuff needs to maybe be a little bit more focused, maybe, needs to go a little bit further, but CEDIA is a great event and it's not too far away. It's always worth seeing stuff. The stuff that I'm looking forward to is the stuff that I'm always looking forward to at every show, right? I'm looking forward to seeing the Sony booth because they always have some really great demos. They lay everything out. And if you've ever seen, you know, a Sony trade show at CEDIA versus a Sony trade show at like a creators conference or whatever, like it's the same kind of mindset. They have everything out for you to mess with, for you to play with, for you to see in person and whatever. And that's a big part of what this trade show is. So seeing that, Sonance is right in the same vein as that, right? Like Sonance is going to have
Yep.
a great booth. They're going to have all their stuff out. They're going to be doing demos. They're going to be really getting you familiar with it and telling their story. You know, those are the two things that I'm looking most forward to. But seeing all of the lighting stuff, like the lighting pavilion this year, and I only noticed because I was literally just looking at the CEDIA map before before I came on this call. But I mean, it's like almost a quarter of the show space is a lighting specific zone, whether that's keypad manufacturers or lighting fixture manufacturers. We're going to see, I mean, we have three lighting lines. We have, Lightline is going to be there. Elemental is going to be there. Um, you know,
Lucetta.
Lucetta CI is going to be there. They're, they're there. Like it's
Right.
out here. Lightheaded is going to be there. I'm looking forward to seeing, Lightheaded's whole spread, but you know, these fixture manufacturers are in our space and they are catering towards us as CI, and that's a good thing and that's an impressive thing. So, my previous statement about a lot of these guys going to Lightheaded or putting their bucks into Lightheaded, they're still supporting CEDIA, right? And there's still a full lighting zone at CEDIA, but you know, seeing all these lines like really kind of go after the custom integrator and showing opportunities to make money, it's pretty impressive. They're great booths. They're great people to talk to. Even they have staff on the floor. I've noticed this too. Like over the last couple of years, you would walk up as a custom integrator and the person in the booth has no idea what you do, what you deal with, whatever. And years, as we've kind of, come to the present here, that's gotten a lot better too, where, hey, people know what we're all about. People know the challenges that we face
Right.
from these fixture manufacturers, and that's encouraging as well, right? Like people are anybody who's taking this as an industry seriously is okay with me. You know, that's
Yeah, they're coming across the aisle, right? Far enough to know, what we're not just electricians. We're not
right.
just stubbing out wires for 6-inch cans in the ceiling. We're not just, trying to burn through a bunch of production stuff. I mean, I mean, custom AV is a world all by itself, but I mean, custom building it for the electrical side of things where you're trying to figure out how to do waterfalls and you're trying to do backlit panels for showers and you're trying
Sure.
to figure out how to make all that stuff work. That's, I think, like the more synergy, the more better, I guess would be how I'd say is kind of how that's all working. But I agree
Yeah.
with you. I think there's a shift afoot. I think CEDIA is a great place for us all to go and see all of the stuff that we're used to working with on a regular basis. But I think Lightapalooza is going to be a strong up and comer, right? Like it's just they're moving to Dallas,
Yeah.
moving
A
in
lot more floor
January.
space. Yep.
that's that's definitely going to be a much bigger deal, and I think a pretty attractive one, frankly. It's we already know. I think we beat it over the head here plenty, right? We know how much we can make with some of our AV installs, and that's great. But wouldn't it be wonderful if we could make money from the lighting and some of the ambient experience in the home outside of just what music and TV looks like?
Yep. And hey, we're here for it. This is
Yeah.
anything that CI can get its tentacles in more
Yeah,
is
we want to talk about it. We want
A
to be a part
plus.
of it. We want to hear what you guys have to say about it.
Yeah. So I answered for me, but what are you excited to see?
This year I think is kind of be iterative of previous, years. I don't think we've had a major watershed moment in terms of like this is a revolutionary product. There isn't a new video format or what have you that's come to market. I am personally interested to see some of the booths from our vendors, of course. Sony are going to be obviously some of our highlights, right? But let's not forget, Josh. Let's not forget Lenbrook. Lenbrook's had some changes here in the last year with some streamlining of their brands and hopefully a chance to hear some of these things in the performance shootout areas. I think that's probably one of the areas of the floor and of the show that I'm going to try to focus spending some time in. We hear about, oh, well, we were set up in room 1215B on the, in a kind of
Right. Right.
conference room F or whatever. And you're like, what are you talking about? Like, I couldn't find that. But it seems to me like they're going to do a better job of promoting, where these listening and demo spaces are, and being able to get in there so that you can do an objective analysis. So yeah, I
Well,
think for me, it's going to be kind of the off of the main show floor, digging around a little bit under the surface to see if what some of those high performance rooms look like, and what some of that direct messaging or what some of those collaborative systems look like. I think that's my biggest excitement for this year.
and I mean that's a big reason to go in itself, right? Like where are you going to be?
There's the education.
Obviously as reps, we haul around samples and we do demos and we set stuff up in people's spaces and everything else, but you're getting one line, right? Like you're getting the Sonance demo or you're getting the Dolly
Hmm.
demo or you're getting whatever demo, and to be able to be in one space, you're there. You can go from room to room to room, hear about it. It's all fresh in your mind. You can draw your own conclusions. That's a reason too. That's right there for an in-person trade show. Hey man, it's a ticket to Denver. It's not that bad from
Follow,
anywhere in the
yeah,
country, you know?
follow John Siaka around.
Right. Right. Just,
Because that
yeah.
guy that
Shadow
guy
that dude.
is like integrator extraordinaire, businessman, and budding technical writer and product evaluator, of the stars. I don't know how else to describe him, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of those guys that are in our industry, in our channel, that this is their passion, right? So I would say if you don't know who John is, you know pretty easy to see. He's a tall guy, got his hair brushed back a little bit. And he's an industry guy, right? Writes for residential systems. He's done stuff for CE Pro and AV twerps and stuff like that. But
Sure.
he's one of those guys that is a, like you're like what should I see or where should I go? Check out his blogs, check out his posts, check out his social medias. He's always on top of that kind of stuff. And little secret, industry secret. He's one of the guys that I take some of my cues from. Like, hey, what are these things? Do I want to go and see John? And he'll give you the straight dope on like, hey, this is the stuff you should check out. Definitely go check out this. Maybe this isn't such a priority kind of thing. So
There you go.
there you go. There's the inside baseball on how to find the really cool demos at CEDIA. Check where your favorite AV writers are and what they're talking about and what they're posting about, and follow them around because they're on top of it.
They sure are. Yeah, it's a great thing to get immersed into this world. There are definitely a lot of content creators out there who have been doing this for a very long
Oh
time,
my God,
way before they
Dream
even call
Media,
them
yeah,
content
Dream
creators.
Media. Those
And
guys are,
if
yeah. Sorry,
yeah, no, it's hey, I was just
all
wondering
over
how
each
far the
other.
train wreck was going to go. But
Yeah, I want to go all the way down to the bottom of the canyon. But yeah, as you said, tons of guys out there that, the Dream Medias of the world, the AV guy, the home theater guru. I mean, you name it. These guys are all going to be stomping around at the show. So,
yep,
uh, pretty easy to recognize these dudes. Check out the YouTubes if you don't know who we're talking about. You're like, oh, I've seen that guy at you know
yep,
Lightapalooza, or I saw these guys wherever. So
yeah. This
those are
is,
the
I
dudes
mean,
that I'll be following.
we are we are in a renaissance right now, and ourselves excluded, but like we are in a
Yeah, not
renaissance
us.
of, yeah, definitely not us and our
No,
30 subscribers, but
no, we're
it's
off the list. Everybody's up here. We're down. We're just below that line.
yeah, we're looking up in a lot of ways,
We're getting
but
there.
there's a lot out there. There is so much content these days. Like I remember, I mean, man, when started this thing, like now you can see how people are doing things all over the world. Video is an amazing thing. You can see it all over Instagram and that kind of thing. And man, it just makes us all better, makes us all look better. It makes us all better as professionals. And it's a great time to be in this industry. So,
That's exciting.
yep.
I'm looking forward to the ramp up to CEDIA. I was going to say, be on the lookout on our socials for invites, for call outs, for parties, for whatever they're going to be. If there's a social event happening and it's in our neck of the woods or with some of our guys, we'll be reaching out to you, of course. Check out our socials if we're at parties, if we're doing stuff. Maybe we'll post it. Maybe we'll talk about it. I think we should maybe create an inside integration Instagram, but I know how
Yeah.
much you love social media, so
It. It's I live for social media, buddy.
so I may be the
Um,
one being the admin for that particular project, but that's okay.
no,
I
hey,
didn't have anything else to do.
I think it's a great, I think it's a great idea. I think it's something that we should get on board with and start hammering it. So yeah, 8 weeks away. So
Okay, well, I guess that's a pretty well-rounded 45 minutes of
yeah,
garbage that
that's a
we
good
we
out.
chopped it all up. So, so for everybody that's stuck around to listen here to the end, thank you. We love you. We appreciate you, and we're looking forward to talking to you on the next episode. So, without any further ado, I'm signing off. I'm Jason Savage. Take care. Bye bye, Chris.
And I'm Chris Barlow, and stay safe out there.